Um, at first glance, when you see us walking down the street without the suit and ties, you'd say this is a lazy bunch. These are youth which are lazy, which are good for nothing. But for once again in history, the youth are taking a stance. The youth are doing something. The youth is mobile. In my community, I've seen people clear their eyes and saw the reality of climate change. My name is Khambule. I'm from South Africa. I'm a law student at the University of Johannesburg. It is very hard as a campaigner to go up to people and say, you know what, climate change is real. They'll tell you about, no man, we've got other problems which we should address first, But then I always go into one point that we have a problem in South Africa which is of population growth. This problem is caused by a number of factors, but one of them is that we've got people from other countries coming into the country, and it's not because of political instabilities or wars, but rather because of floods, natural disasters, and food shortages in the places of origin. Now, with that and the ignorance which people have in the country about climate change and the use of energy, there's a demand which grows for energy and industry in South Africa. And one thing we should all know is that in developing countries, we use dirty energy, Dirty energy is energy generated by coal. It's stoked in South Africa. We've got a lot of that. Now, all those aspects combined together, South Africa is starting to see signs of climate change. Now, if you have people leaving their countries, coming into a country to seek refuge, and finding the same elements present there, where are they supposed to go? That's one of the questions, because these are climate refugees. They're seeking a place to go. But I'd like to illustrate it with a story of my friend called Moses. Moses comes from Zimbabwe. Moses is a student at the University of Johannesburg. Now, Moses, when he left Zimbabwe, he came to Soweto and settled there, as Soweto is one of has a large residence for varsity students. Now, earlier this year, Soweto had a flooding, and this is the first time ever. Soweto never has floods. Now, the problem is that with Moses, he had left Zimbabwe right before there was the floods. These floods are the same floods which led to the cholera and the malaria outbreak, which we all know of. Now, this is a shock to Moses, first of all, that he left Zimbabwe, escaping the floods. Now he receives and becomes a victim of a flood in a place which he thought would never have floods. Second of all, it's a shock to the whole of Soweto and the entire country. So this led us to initiating a project. Initially, we have a project which has been running for 2 years, I and a group of friends. We go into primary schools, teach them the theoretical side of climate change and also the practical side of dealing with climate change. This is by practical interaction with the children. We show them or make them understand power and water conservation, land pollution, and the importance of planting trees. This is how to plant a tree and how to care for a tree. So after the Soweto incident, we thought, well, we might as well not only plant trees to soak up CO2 emissions, but rather to plant trees to minimize the effects of future floods in Soweto. Because what had happened is that when Soweto was extended, they had removed a whole lot of trees, which is the government, had removed a whole lot of trees, a whole lot of vegetation so that they can make spacing for housing. So the trees which were there, which would serve as a defense mechanism from the natural elements for the infrastructure, were not there anymore. So we currently are working with the government in that regard, in planting more trees, in making trees and saving the infrastructure which is still left. Because what we saw as a group is that this problem of climate change is as serious as HIV/AIDS. It's as serious as youth unemployment. This problem, ladies and gentlemen, is as serious as apartheid. And we need a response to match that. Thank you.
The question is, should we be doing this alone, or should you be joining us?
What is your wish, and what are you going to do about it?
Come and fill the boot that we had laid in front of you. Thank you very much.